Republican Party could do or should do between now and the general election to kind of help you to win those friends to sort of say, the conservative side, come over here, we have cookies kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does
I
that make
get
sense?
it. Of course.
Yeah,
No,
so
I know
walk
what you're
me
saying.
through that a little bit.
Well,
So, hey, welcome back to Youth Bombs. I'm not the young guy, but want to welcome you in. Thanks very much for watching. I've got here, my name is Michael, and this is Michael as well, right?
yep,
Yeah.
Michael Andre.
Yeah, there you go. So, we've got a general election coming up in like 6 months. It's hard to believe it's here already. So tell me, because obviously I'm not a young guy, not anymore. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. So walk me through kind of what you feel like the Conservative Party, Republican Party needs to do between now and the general election. Because you're a lock, right, as far as who you're voting. You're going to vote Conservative.
Yes.
No question about it.
No question.
The question mark, though, is your friends that are sort of on the fence. You know what I mean? Those students that are out there that are like, do I vote for Biden? Do I vote for Trump? There's goods and bads about both, obviously. Is it the lesser of two evils? What is it? And so walk me through kind of what the Republican Party could do or should do between now and the general election to kind of help you to win those friends to sort of say, the conservative side, come over here, we have cookies kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does
I
that make
get
sense?
it. Of course.
Yeah,
No,
so
I know
walk
what you're
me
saying.
through that a little bit.
Well, just sort of first of all, it's really kind of tough because
No doubt.
really what I said earlier kind of extends to the youth in the fact that there you have people like me who are locked in conservatively, people that are liberal and locked in those positions. But then you have, of course, this moderate, and really it's a lot higher in the youth, sadly. It's a lot higher that they're in that moderate position and they don't really care. And I know when I say that, I mean, it really is, like you said, the lesser of two evils. That's how a lot of them view it. They say, oh, well, you have Trump and you have Biden, but they both suck.
And that's a fair statement, I think,
of course,
in a lot of ways.
And as far as winning them over, I think it's very difficult because they're a lot of them are constantly online, and I say that it's not necessarily a problem. Of course, I'm not bordering on antisocial, but that is just where a lot of people get their news nowadays. They don't tune into Fox, they don't tune into CNN. They're on X or they're on Facebook. Not so much Facebook. Youth, definitely more.
That's an old
X.
guy thing, right?
Yeah, no. Definitely more X and things around those lines. But if you were to ask me what a lot of the youth would want to see, I definitely think that you have a lot of Republicans, and I think this is what made Trump exceptional, but you have a lot of Republicans that they talk about going to war with Iran. That's certainly a very popular talking point, and just sort of, and it's not just them, but they are sort of infamous for doing this sort of thing, especially after 9/11.
Right.
A lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans were talking about going to war, the war on terror. Of course, Bush is he's sort of the face of that.
Right.
So I think that a very toned down sort of war talk, if you would, saying, you know what, we really don't plan on sending, people to Ukraine. We don't plan on sending people to Israel. We don't want to send people anywhere. We want to keep our 18-year-olds, our people around my age that might have to fear a draft if that sort of time were to come, and try to say to them, we will not send you. At least coming from my point of view, that's what I think a lot of people would like to hear. Not have to worry about that.
So you're thinking if Trump, for example, were to come out and say, I'm committed to, number one, not reinstating the draft, because I know that's a concern. That's been sort of tossed out there over the last, 5, 6 years?
Yeah, along with this whole World War III talk.
Right. And two, making sure that we keep our men and women that are in the military, God bless them, nothing but support for those guys. They do a lot for us, always have. I was in the military myself, got a lot of support. But if they were to say, our goal is to not send them overseas to be dying in countries where, because let's be honest, the war on terror has been going on since 9/11, and I just recently read a book by Bill O'Reilly called Killing the Killers. It's a good book, by the way. No props from Bill O'Reilly. We don't get any kickback for that, just personal opinion. But in that book, he talked about the war on terror, and from my estimation, we're no closer to solving it than we were when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
that's the way it seems to me. And so what I'm hearing you say is making sure that guys and gals your age aren't worried about being sent overseas and being drafted is a key thing for them. Am I hearing that right?
I would certainly believe that. Yes, that from what I've heard.
That's an interesting perspective, and I really wouldn't have thought about that. And you mentioned that something brought up. You mentioned social media. Now, again, Facebook. That's an old guy's game.
Yeah.
But do you think that Republicans could push more on social media and be more of a presence on social media? Do you think that would be helpful?
Yes. So I recall in one of our past episodes, I was talking about how Vivek, he was doing a lot with social media. Of course, like I said, we know his campaign ended. I think he was at 8%, 7%, around those lines. Like I said, it's a combination because you have a lot of people that are pro-Trump, of course, and then you have the other two, which, because you have an older voting demographic, in my opinion, that's why a lot of them might have been...
Probably fair.
Yes, why they have gotten a lot of the other split. But I definitely think Vivek is heading in the right direction. When he talks about getting our presence on there on social media, as much as we might disagree, or as much as we might believe that there are, in my opinion, some negative effects that happen, at the end of the day, if it's about getting your message and your agenda out there to upcoming voters, this is the way you're going to do it. You do stuff like banning TikTok. You do stuff like, trying to censor or trying to keep people off. You're kind of going to turn off a lot of the youth audience because that's just where they're getting their information from. And so I definitely do think that the Republican and conservative party can benefit a great deal, in fact, if they were to really utilize social media as much as they can. Because I think a lot of people have that. A lot of young people have that perception that the Republicans and the conservatives are more of an older generation. I don't necessarily think that's true, but I do think that there is definitely, among independents and upcoming voters, young people, that's kind of what they believe. And then you have the liberals who are younger, maybe a little more in tune with, I wouldn't say what they think, but with doing stuff like social media. Right. They're hip, if you would.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And I think, because you're right, I think, I think Hallie talked about it in a few episodes ago where there's a bill actually in Florida right now that they're trying to push through that makes it illegal for anyone under 16 to be on social media. And I think that I agree with you. I think that's the wrong way to go because that's where you guys you get your information from. Mm-hmm. Whether you agree or disagree that social media is a good thing, which it's good, but it also has bad things to it. There's lots of facets to it.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that's where your generation and younger, that's where you get your info from.
Yeah.
Whether you agree or disagree with TikTok or Instagram or whatever the case may be, that's where the info comes from, right?
In fact, just a little bit, because in 2016, of course, I think we all know that there's tons of viral clips of Trump, like when he says wrong, or when he says you'd be in jail to Hillary Clinton. I honestly think, I don't think that won him, I don't think that won him the election. But I definitely do think that as well as his presence on Twitter, I definitely do think that sort of contributed to some sort of the youth. I wouldn't say, I'd say sort of awakening of Trump, because a lot of them, he's still kind of all over the internet just with like these memes and like, jokes, internet culture. He's sort of embedded in there. Mm-hmm. And that's just sort of a good example, a good microcosm sort of how we can use social media to help people around my age sort of get more involved with conservative politics.
That's a good point. I appreciate your perspective. And thanks for chatting with me today. I really do.
Of course.
Man, that's awesome. You're well educated, and I can tell, and you care about what's going on. But make sure that you like, comment, share, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.